So I just kind of wanted to organically learn a little bit about how you found out about us.
Okay. Yeah. I heard about you through the Ben Greenfield podcast, and it immediately caught my attention because I was looking into hyperbaric chamber treatments, and that's quite difficult to find here in Stockholm. And I was mostly actually looking for my mother who had had a stroke. And then I reached out and got a call from Annette, who introduced this product and convinced me to get one quite immediately, which I did. And I had myself been struggling, but it's much easier to take care of somebody else than yourself. I've been struggling with health issues, and I'm a painter, and I had a tremendous burden of toxins in my blood. About 3 years earlier, I'd been to a functional medicine clinic, and they did my blood tests. And we've been working with sauna protocols and opening up my detox pathways and so on. I've come to a certain level. But then when the LiveO2 came, it was like a game changer. It was like rocket fuel on that journey. So starting off thinking that I bought it for my mom, I realized that I didn't. I bought it for me.
Nice. And is this your paintings behind you right there too?
Yeah, they're that's my work. So that's what I do every day, and I've been doing that for 30 years now, full time. Wow. So I didn't really realize how much toxins there was in it. It was, you know, how naive you are sometimes in life. So when I found out, I started to have air cleaners and work with gloves and to prevent all the toxins from entering my body. But then I needed to excrete the ones that I'd accumulated throughout the year. And once you start to think about it, it's very, very logical. But it's an eye opener when you get the black and white of the results from the chemical testings of your blood, and just realize that you really pushed yourself hard. And what it was mostly was cognitively. I was extremely tired at the end before I reached out to get help. I was sleeping 10 hours a night. I was sleeping once or twice every day, and I couldn't figure out why I was so tired. And all of a sudden my eyes opened to it.
What are some of the changes that you've noticed in your own health from, say, 3 years back to when you first found LiveO2 to now? What are some of the differences you feel that you can attribute, in somewhat part to the LiveO2 system and the training?
No, not in somewhat parts, totally. It's the mental clarity. It's the cognitive ability. And I can see it in my work as well, that I would say that I leveled up in my paintings as well. And that's, for me, it's a way of seeing where I am. It's
wow.
It was, I think it was strangely quite a spiritual thing as well, because when your mind clears, and you always get this high coming off the LiveO2, and I have this fantastic energy and this presence in the world and this clarity of mind. And I didn't expect that at all. That was not on my list of expectations. And the cognitive part of it, I would say, and not being so tired anymore. But it's an overall thing. Like visually, my skin cleared, my body is more kind to me. I don't have so much aches and pains. And I mean, it's a whole system. I've been working on so many different things, but as I'd been doing everything my functional clinic told me beforehand, and I had my personal trainer, and I was quite fit, but I could see how adding the LiveO2 did so much for my cognitive thinking.
So I had just one curious question, just for me personally, is like, what changes did you see in your art? Like, how did you see it changing from before to like your brain working more optimally later?
Yeah. the same kind of clarity that I could focus so much better. So I'm much sharper. It's really difficult to tell exactly, but I can say, like, before I could sit on my couch and I could think, okay, need to paint this big, big, big blue area. And it's going to be physically hard, and I'm going to have to get all down on the floor, go down on the floor and paint it and get it up and clean everything. And like, so I could be sitting there thinking, oh, that should be blue. But I just can't get myself to do it. And now I never get that. I'm like, oh, blue. And then I get up and do it. So I'm more in my work. Before, I used to think that if I had the energy, I would do that. But now I do what I feel like I'm doing. And there is a sharpness to it that's different. And I do get the comment from other people as well that something has really, really happened to your work. And I attribute it to my mental clarity.
That makes me feel really good. This is why we do this.
I wouldn't be here to tell you this story if it wasn't such a game changer for me, because I don't really push for stuff at all. I do my own work. So this is because I'm so grateful for your product, and I'm grateful for Annette's support in my journey. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I must compliment you on your fantastic customer support. Without that, I would not have received the full benefit of the system, and I probably also wouldn't have pushed myself so hard. And you know how sometimes when it's novel, you're into it, and then you lose interest in a while. And I'm coming up on 3 years working with the LiveO2 now, and the customer support has really helped me. And I've been able to reconnect with Annette time and time again throughout this journey, to push it and to change it and to modify the everything for me. And also, I've had the benefit of reaching out to Nat for my friends that I've been concerned about, and I once sent her a picture of one close friends of a close friend, and she called me back and she said, "Well, look at the calves; they're really, really, really swollen. That's a big concern." So she was grateful enough to train my friend for a few sessions before she was also set off on her own, and her calf just shrunk. And also, she was suffering really badly from post-COVID. She could only walk like 5 or 10 minutes without sitting down, and within a few weeks she was up and running again. So that was also for me, because it's easier to see somebody else's journey than your own, and to see her improvement made me sort of use those glasses and point them in my own direction to see that I have also done that work.
Just maybe reiterate or explain how important you feel like it is to work with a trainer or an expert when someone's doing this. They're spending a lot of money to buy this piece of hardware, but a lot of people think, okay, I'll just buy a piece of hardware and anything and I'll figure it out. And that can happen, but how beneficial has it been to have someone that's an expert walk you through this process?
Hugely. I would not have kept up with it otherwise, and I wouldn't have understood as much, and I wouldn't have tweaked it as much. And as I said at the beginning, I couldn't even cognitively understand what I was supposed to do with this machine. And even now, when I'm training friends and family, I feel like I know so much about it, that I've heard it so many times, and I've watched all your videos, and I've talked to Annette maybe 100 times over the years, reached out to her in different ways, and she's always been been responding and also very positively pushing me in the right direction. And her knowledge and her enthusiasm is extraordinary, and it makes me enthusiastic to push myself as well. And we also talked a lot about, I remember the first time we trained, she said afterwards, close your eyes and feel your body. And I sort of got that as so I could feel, otherwise I might not have been so aware of the cognitive change. And I can also see like a sparkle in my eyes and everyone else's eyes that I hadn't seen if she hadn't said, so look into your eyes. And they like, after a training session. And I can see that in everyone else. But yeah, coming back to your question, I would not have understood, because it's quite complicated in many ways, what's happening in the body. I mean, you can feel it, but I needed to understand it to be so consistent. And I still don't understand it fully, so I'm grateful that I can still reach out and ask questions.
Did you see a big difference when you switched from the regular adaptive contrast system to the extreme? What was that transition for you like? Because a lot of customers right now are kind of playing with this idea if it makes sense or not, and to do the upgrade. But how did you feel about that?
I would say it was about time. I don't think I would have needed it to start off with, but then you come to a certain level. I've worked with it for almost 2 years before I upgraded, and I've really worked hard. The first year, I mean, I got it during COVID, so I had a lot of time, which I don't have the same amount of time anymore. And then I could train every day, and I could go into it. But then I came to a point where it became quite easy, and I had to go for so long, and I was running out of oxygen, because then I was I had to have such long exercise trainings, so to get the benefits, to come to the next level, to push myself. And I would trick myself by trying to hold my breath and all sorts of things. And with the extreme, I mean, I've been working on that for I think a year now. I think, not sure, but I still haven't pushed myself to the highest levels. I still have the ability to go even further on it, but it's tough.
What type of training schedule are you doing now with LiveO2? Are you training every day, or what's your routine that you're sticking
No. Yeah, at the moment I'm not. I train every day during COVID and on. I feel like and also with extreme, I push myself harder than I did before, so I get more benefit out of an exercise. And I actually pushed myself far too hard, and I called up Annette because I was fatigued, and she said, no, you can't go so hard, that you have to come to a limit. You don't crush yourself till you're basically dead, then your adrenals start pumping and so on. That's also that was fantastic to hear, because I always thought that I should push myself as far as I could possibly go, and I overdid it for sure. So I'm doing it 3 or 4 times a week now, and some days I work on a harder schedule. I push myself really, really hard, and then if I go and do weight training for a day, I can just come back and sometimes go just on oxygen for 10 minutes to reset the system and recharge it. And I sometimes use it when I am stuck in my work and just put it on instead of having a coffee. I'll go on the machine and not do proper exercise, just walk and get some oxygen and clear the head. But I would say I use it 4 times a week, but maybe twice for serious exercise and twice for just some refreshing the system.
That's perfect. And that's what I also recommend as a coach and a trainer, is at a certain point, especially after you've been doing this for years, this isn't some new thing, your body finds that perfect equilibrium where your body is wanting it the most, and you start to tune in with your physiology, which is something that happens over years of doing something, that what's enough and what's too much, and you start to, and you've pushed too far, you come back and you found that perfect sweet spot for your own self, especially for where you're at, which is beautiful. So, and you've said you've worked with some of your friends as well, and did they get systems, or they just come over and use your system for help, or?
They come over here. So it's I have quite a group that I train, actually.
Really? So you have a little circle of friends
have,
that come over and you just help them out?
Yeah. And I mean, I have it here in my studio, and I'm here every day. So by the time they know how to do it, I can just turn it on. And I have an infrared sauna as well. So especially my friend who had the post-COVID and the swollen ankles, she comes once or twice a week, and she goes on the LiveO2, and then she goes into the sauna, and then we have a coffee, and then she goes. So it's a luxury to be able to help your friends and to see them benefit from it.
I'm doing it constantly. I love it so much. Like, people just come around, and we have I have it at my house and my friends' houses. And then every time someone needs a tune up, everyone's just coming around. They're going to go on a flight. They're landing. They're a little under the weather. They had a surgery, whatever it is. We're just tuning people up with O2 all the time. And we also have the sauna as well. So those two are a really magical combination together. The sauna and the oxygen are amazing together as tools.
And I could also feel when I started off that I was thinking like paint. And then when I went in, I was like, it was horrific, the stench from me. And then it felt really good to go into the sauna and get it even further out of the system. And the one that I had before, it's now with my personal trainer. And because he said, when I started it, he said he'd been training me for a couple of years, and he just went, "Whoa, what did you do? I've never seen such big improvement in such a short time." And I told him about it. So he now has the regular system that when I upgraded. So.
So your personal trainer ended up getting a system after seeing your results.
Yeah.
Wow. So you also saw, beyond just your cognitive improvement, you saw physical improvements in your ability to work out and exercise, things like this.
Yeah, and I didn't see that. It was him asking me, like, "Oh, Astrid, hang on, what happened here?" And I told him about it, and he said that's just extraordinary, because he's been training me, for a few years, and you plateau, and then it went like skyrocketed. So that was a good witness as well, because you don't see yourself as clearly as you see other people.
Absolutely. Great. Well, I think I'm coming here to the end. I think I got almost all my questions. Two last questions. One is, if you had any message to someone that was curious about LiveO2, was a little bit on the fence, doesn't understand, they've seen it, but they're just watching this video thinking, what is this thing? Is it real? Does it actually help people?
I feel for me, it was a game changer. You need to put in the work. That's one thing. It doesn't just happen. It's not magic. You have to work on it. And if you do, you will receive the benefits. And I felt better now than I have in years. So from just looking at myself and my friends, I would definitely try it out. And my most expressive thing that I saw was my friend with the post-COVID that could go from just walking for 2 or 3 minutes to running in a couple of weeks, and that was like magic.
Wow. So their post-COVID was so severe they were barely moving around, and with the assistance of the oxygen, they were able to get back on their feet.
And fast. That was really, really fast. And for me personally, I think also, which I didn't really realize for like 6 months or so, was that my anxiety went away. And I realized because I opened this email that was like, oh, shocking. And I got this anxiety attack, not really, but I got the whole flushing through the system, like, oh. And then I stopped and I just thought, whoa, I haven't felt this for a long time. And then I could look at it from the outside and also feel like, okay, I'll put this aside for now and see this as an experience. And then you deal with that later. And I managed to do that and not get kidnapped by the whole situation and somebody being upset with me and so on. So I could, and also I felt, oh, I used to feel like this all the time. I don't anymore. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, last question. Anything else you can think of just off, from your history with LiveO2 the past years that you'd like to share that you can think of?
I must say it's been quite a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun training with the nets, and much more fun than I thought it would be. And also how I've had my protocol adjusted to my way of being and thinking, and the flexibility of it, and sometimes just do meditations on it. It's been fantastic, and I don't think that's a regular protocol, but that's worked for me to get clearance. And yeah, no, I would say it's been a fun journey, and in every way it's been fun, it's been hard, it's been interesting, and yeah, I'm still on it.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so thankful for you taking the time to talk with me. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah,
It's nice to meet you, Rob.
It's really nice to meet you too.
I've heard about you, and it's good to get a face.